Our entire year of professional League of Legends is going to be condensed down to presumably a big fight now to break open the entire series.
It's hit, there's the charm as well, and Faker might ball first in the finals of the finals.
3 kills now for Knight, a fantastic TP to bring BLG back. I feel like this game isn't going to end in 27 minutes with how tense it's been so far.
Faker flashes in, and down goes Knight!
I think this play exemplifies just how well Faker can read a map and read a situation in a heartbeat.
Once again, when you need someone, when you need anyone to stand up and show just what this game's all about.
Every time BLG tried to make a play, it felt like T1 was reading their minds and knew exactly how to react.
It's Faker! He finds another! T1 5-5!
The 4-second channel time in T1 strike. Wait a second, topside, Zeus under fire!
And it looks absolutely dire for T1.
And Faker still stands, he has ascended!
I think everyone in that moment was losing their collective shit.
How does he keep doing it?
The unkillable Demon King! Unkillable one more time!
Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Omen, for being our portal to possibility by sending our crew on an esports world tour. Our second stop this year was at one of League of Legends' most prestigious events, the Mid-Season Invitational in Vancouver, Canada. Unleash your ultimate gaming potential with the Omen Max 16 laptop. Crafted for powerful performance, the Omen Max 16 is equipped with up to an Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, offering gamers desktop-level performance anywhere, encased in a light, portable body they can take on the go. Then there's also a groundbreaking new self-cleaning fan technology called Fan Cleaner. Powered by Intel, this built-in feature periodically reverses the fan's direction to prevent dust buildup for absolutely peak reliable performance. And for the first time ever, Omen gives players the ability to manually overclock their laptop CPU and GPU for max performance, up to 250 watts total processing power without having to go into the BIOS. Thanks again to Omen for helping players navigate through any gaming obstacle to reach new levels with the Omen Max 16, now available at omen.com. And now, let's get back to our story.
Winning Worlds is a Herculean effort that usually requires 5 players at their best working in harmony. But it's rare that one player makes one play that changes everything. Faker had seen a decisive Game 5 in the World's Grand Finals twice before. In 2016, facing down Samsung Galaxy, Faker won his 3rd championship in 5 games, and he was MVP in that final game. The roster around Faker in 2024 was far different. He had gone from young star to grizzled veteran and was now surrounded by a new generation of talented players.
They have Faker in the mid lane who's been here before, like a few times, you could say. So having that level of veterancy, that voice that can just say it'll be okay, and you kind of have to believe it, I think goes a long way as well.
Standing in the way of Faker and T1 defending their title, though, was no pushover adversary. BLG, China's top seed, was stacked with talent, and they were pushing T1 to the brink in what was already proving to be a classic grand final. After rescuing Game 4 with an incredible Sylas play, all eyes were on Faker going into Game 5. The series was hard fought, and everything came down to one final journey onto the Rift. In the draft, T1 elected to go for a tanky lineup that concentrated nearly all of their offense into Gumayushi's Xayah and Owner's Xin Zhao.
T1 looking towards perhaps a Galio in the mid lane here for Faker. And it's going to be locked in as well, so they have a very tanky front line already.
I'm honestly surprised to see the Galio locked in this early for T1, rather than securing something like the Xayah Rakan for themselves. They've chosen to go for it, maybe in anticipation of BLG potentially going for the Sylas, and knowing that the Galio can be an effective answer into it.
The Sylas never materialized, and T1 would need to play through their bot lane and jungle effectively in order to seize control of the game. But BLG quickly began executing executing their own plan. They shut down Faker's Galio, limiting his ability to contribute to teamfights while simultaneously getting Knight playing his signature Ahri ahead.
Has no flash, Justice Punch gets hit, there's the charm as well, and Faker might fall first in the finals of the finals.
The constant pressure ensured that Knight remained on top gold-wise for some time, and BLG continued to target Faker.
Faker again with a good Justice Punch to dodge away from the charm in mid.
Faker under attack.
Does have the flash, will punch forward, Justice Punch coming out on, misses the crash down, the charm connects though, and the chase continues as Shun dives forward. Faker saved the flash, and in the end will use it to dash out of Shun's engage.
However, even as Faker started to fall behind Knight, his bot lane was increasingly pulling away, turning Guma into a serious offensive threat.
It is a very tall task here for BLG to get Elk back into this game.
And I think it was a really great pick in that moment from Faker, because not only can you absorb so much pressure with the Galio, but it also means you're constantly able to protect your side lanes. And against something like a Jarvan, that is so good for trying to prevent dives in the bottom lane, or at least allow this Xayah to really scale into a position where she can take over the game.
After an initial fight that saw both teams group up, T1 secured Grubs. BLG continued to focus their attention on mid and top though.
Here he comes.
To make the play, spear rush forward by Knight holding the charm, doesn't get stunned, the charm hits Carrier. Flash forward with the counter strike, Carrier falls first, as Guma usually brings the feathers back and almost takes down on. Owner caught underneath his own tower, but he will fall even in the Cataclysm. BLG find 2, Guma's walking away wounded.
T1 were able to grab the Rift Herald and maintain a slight lead. But as the game dragged on, the overall gold was relatively close. Though T1 were ahead on other objectives, it didn't seem like either team would settle the game quickly.
Now, in game 4, you said with confidence that you don't expect the game to end in 27 minutes. I feel like this game isn't going to end in 27 minutes with how tense it's been so far, with clear win conditions laid out for both sides.
Both teams were looking for an opportunity to take a lead. BLG had been so close to victory twice in a row, whereas T1 had gotten here by the skin of their teeth. One opening could decide worlds. Right here, right now. And BLG found their opening first. Faker was clearing top and Knight wasn't visible to T1, but Bin was showing bottom and quickly moved towards Zeus, who was taking Scuttle. As the fight started, Elk's Kaisa opened up on Carrier's Poppy. Meanwhile, Owner and Gumayushi began damaging Shun. Shun was forced to use his ult, and he isolated Gumayushi inside the crater while keeping Owner away from him. Then Guma used his ult just to survive and had to also flash to avoid the charm. Zeus slowed Bin and hustled towards the fight. Guma's flash put him in the path of Bin though, which is when things went south fast for T1.
It's a half HP, Bin gets onto the back line, Gumayushi cleanses away, but Bin has already put him in the dirt. Kevin is next up. BLG find 2, T1 able to back away for the moment.
Faker finished teleporting in, but Bin started up a TP of his own to cross mid and throw the gauntlet down at T1. T1 could either fight a 4v5 at Baron and likely lose right then and there, or give up Baron and let BLG run away with the game. But Faker and T1 have a habit of defying the odds, and with Bin momentarily absent during his teleport, they found their moment.
I think this play exemplifies just how well Faker can read a map and read a situation in a heartbeat. He realizes that Bin is TPing in behind. He knows that T1 has nowhere to run. And instead of saying, okay, scatter every man for himself, he realizes, hang on a second, no, we have a low health Jarvan, I have flash, and Knight had stepped too far forward because BLG think they have their moment to take the game into their hands.
With the TP behind by Bin as he looks for a little bit more. Oh, they go back in. Faker flashes in and down goes Knight. Once again, when you need someone, when you need anyone to stand up and show just what this game's all about, it's Faker. He finds another T1 5-5, and alongside it, the Baron in their eyes.
Against all odds, T1 prevailed. Let's take a look at how it happened. An important thing to note is that T1, led by Faker, chose to stand and fight. Instead of letting BLG execute their own plan, they took the fight to them in the mid lane, forcing Bin to slowly work his way back into the fray. Faker flashed in, landed a 2-man taunt, and immediately smashed Knight with Justice Punch before dropping his Q into the middle of everything. Zeus followed up and notably hit Shun, who was already flying to his standard, knocking T1 up. But Shun's intervention is too late for Knight, who died before Bin could even rejoin the fight. At this point, it was only a 3v3. BLG, though down on health, still had a shot at winning the fight. Shun is in trouble, but Bin was able to join. However, Owner's Xin Zhao ultimate forced Elk to focus Zeus instead. Faker saw the incoming pressure and wound up Hero's entrance to both make his team tankier and to help CC the opponent. As Zeus saw Bin about to focus him too, he popped Arm Guard and went gold to escape the oncoming onslaught. Unable to get out of Faker's ult, Bin was forced to immune too, but Owner was able to mop up Shun and Elk couldn't do enough damage to turn the tide. Faker chose to make sure Elk couldn't escape, taunted Bin, who got cleaned up, and finished the fight by chasing down Elk. In just a few seconds, T1 took control of the game. They grabbed Baron and extended their lead.
BLG had started out so well, they killed Gumayushi. They had them on the run, but the turn from T1 was better.
And immediately he jumps onto Knight, and I think that really shows the understanding of every little minutia of this game that Faker has. The fact that he can turn that in a moment, but also then the follow play afterwards. This is where it is that beautiful moment of he kills the mid laner, he denies the AD carry any sort of impact in the fight, and T1 are able to completely take control of that Game 5 in the World Championship.
This moment was Faker snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. It was an incredible play that single-handedly shifted the balance of the game. But the game wasn't over, and right as the casters finished watching the replay, it happened again.
Teleport, the 4-second channel time, and T1 strike. Wait a second, topside, Zeus under fire!
Zeus was trapped in top lane by himself in a 1v4. And while Faker didn't have teleport up, he did have Hero's entrance once again. However, the rest of T1 was nowhere nearby as they grouped to pressure mid and make use of the Baron buff they just earned. Zeus's death wouldn't immediately end the game. T1 had all their tier 2 turrets, Baron buff, and a 5k gold lead. But BLG might have been able to turn this into a play around Dragon, which was about to respawn. A kill here would help BLG find their way back into the game. T1's reaction did end the game. And unbelievably, it did so from this lopsided position where Zeus seemed sure to die meaninglessly.
So this play was a little bit of a Hail Mary play coming through from BLG. They'd just given over Baron over the last team fight. You have 20 seconds until Cloud Soul is up and available for T1 as well. And their call was drop Cloud Soul, we focus Zeus, hope he can get the pick, and get enough gold, maybe get an inhibitor turret, so that then we can nullify the Baron push and get something that nullifies the Cloud Soul going over. And it looks absolutely dire for T1.
Hopelessly surrounded, Zeus knew from comms that Faker was on his way. So he landed the Gragas combo, throwing Elk back into the Galio ultimate and taking over half his HP. Elk was forced to use Arm Guard to avoid the knockup. Meanwhile, the rest of BLG turned to focus on Zeus. Right as Bin was about to connect, Zeus went immune again. Meanwhile, Gumayushi and Owner are about halfway up the river to top lane. Faker absorbed some crowd control, but the focus immediately returned to Zeus once again. Elk was so low that he started to kite away, and Shun used the Jarvan ult to try to keep Faker and Zeus penned in. Faker's Q killed Elk at range nonetheless, and right as the crater faded, Zeus finally died. But the solo laners held on long enough. Guma and Owner were almost there. Faker just needed to survive a few more seconds. BLG were hungry for the kill, but Faker landed an enhanced auto attack on all 3 enemies and then dropped his Q on top of himself right before going immune. Bin froze, unsure which way to flee, and his indecision cost him his life. Owner and Guma rode triumphantly over the hill and charged in, and defying all odds, Faker survived it all. He and Zeus turned an initial 4v1 for BLG into a 1v4 trade for T1.
Faker still stands. He has ascended. He stands above it all, and he looks hungrily at that world's trophy.
The unkillable Demon King, unkillable one more time.
Unbelievable once more. How does he keep doing it?
I think everyone in that moment was losing their collective shit. Like, there was so much that had happened in that moment that even going back, people started to reanalyze what had happened and noticed, like, people completely missed that Keria poppy ulted Knight to stop the TP in. The reaction from T1 to everyone get there just in time was absolutely insane. Plus, Faker being able to outplay in that moment was just absurd. But I think for everyone, it was just this ceiling of the series. This was the moment where I think a lot of people realized that T1 were going to take home another title for themselves, and there was just nothing that BLG could do to stop them.
Charging down the top lane, T1 knew that they could end, since Knight was the only BLG player left alive.
아니 궁으로 해보자. 해보자. 나 이슈. 타워. 내가 막할게. 타워. 여진데?
And BLG could only watch as T1 became repeat champions.
T1 are the past, the present, and the future. A new era, the same empire. T1 are your 2024 world champions.
T1 founded a second dynasty, and it was built on these kinds of plays, pushing their champions to the limit, sometimes in the most desperate situations.
And just the way that game ended, for Faker to make the plays that he did, he is the GOAT for a reason.
Because when the world's best take to the stage and ultimate glory is on the line, every second counts.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.